Welcome to Coastal Living Down Under Australia. This is our next candle installment and we're going to be doing this pretty teacup candle and this is going to be for one of my dear friends, Carly. It's her birthday this week, so we're making some couture candles for her. Now what we're doing at the moment is all I'm doing here to get the wick in is I'm using these glue dots and I'm just placing them on the bottom of the wick. As you can see here, I think 2 glue dots should do the trick. So we just stick them to the bottom. Now I always use more glue than less. That way, as it burns down, you don't want to risk the wick falling over. So all we're going to do is we're going to tip this candle cup up and we're just going to stick it down in the center of the bottom like that. Give it a good push, make sure that it's firm and set before you start pouring the wax. Now Carly has sent through some candle scent suggestions. So we're going to be doing a lime and coconut today. We've got some beautiful seashells that we collected at our local beach. So we're going to decorate them with, decorate the top of the candle with these little seashells. I'll be making sure to keep the seashells away from the wick. And Carly will remove anything that's close to the wick as she's burning it. So I hope you like this tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will endeavour to get answers to you as soon as possible. Now, if you're wondering what products that I'm using to make my candles, I get all of my supplies from Australian Candle Supplies, which is this product that I've got now on the screen. I will add links to these products for you in the description. So this is the wick and tab that I'm using. It's number 10. It's perfect for this size candle. So that's the, if you can see that there. And the fragrance that I'm using here is the coconut and lime. Now I've bought quite a large one because this is one of my favorites. So I've bought the 500 ml, but they also come in smaller sizes. So check that out. That is also in the description. There's a link to take you straight there. Now, if you're wondering where I picked up this beautiful teacup set, I just went down to my local Vinnie's, and I usually do this just to find some nice fine English bone china, or I've got some other things from the local Vinnie's, like these beautiful retro jar containers. The most recent one that I found, which is also beautiful, which was probably a jewelry box back in the day, is this lovely container here, which I'll just give you a better look at. I still haven't cleaned it up, but I'm going to turn this one into a candle container as well. All right, so your local Vinnie's or any of those sort of shops, thrift shops, are wonderful for finding little bargains that you can turn into candle vessels. Well, you do need to make sure that you've got something that you've tested to make sure that it doesn't break. But if you're using teacups, they're already made out of a material that can withstand the heat. So you should be pretty right with those. And with the glass containers, I generally go with the really thick. So you can see here, it's quite a thick piece of glass. Now I've been burning these for the last 3 months at my own home, and they have not cracked or even heated up to the point where I thought they were going to crack. That also you need to consider when you're wicking them as well. Don't over wick so that they get burned too hot too quick. But that's something for you to test at home. We're going to melt our wax now, and we're going to use the Chandler and Me. If you're interested in buying the Chandler and Me, there is also a link to that on our website. I also have a video, a number of videos about Chandler and Me and how wonderful it's been for my candle making. I've also put up on the screen now that you can see, you've got now I've put up on the screen all the ingredients that I'm using other than my wax. The wax I have also bought from Australian Candle Supplies, which is the 464. Now I've got our shells here, the wicks that we're using, the fragrance, and then over here we've got the glue dots that I'm using as well. Now I'm using the Chandler and Me to melt my wax, and that also allows me to combine the scent in with it. I'm not using a colour for the wax today. We're going to decorate it with the shells. Now, if you're interested in buying the Chandler and Me, jump on the description. There's a link on where to buy it in all of the countries that they sell it in. I'll put all of the links down. So depending on what country is closest or that you're in, you can then purchase if you do wish to do that. I must say it's a fantastic product. It saves me a lot of time. As you can hear, the wax is ready to go. The Chandler and Me is beeping at me saying that it's time to pour. So we're going to pour these in. Now I've also made some little star tea light candles in the background, which I'm also going to use. Any of the excess wax is going to go into those. So I would recommend, if you're making it home and you're only doing small batches, that you have something as a little backup so you don't waste any wax, and you can fill what's left over into those. Okay, so we're just going to pour this in. Now, as I said, I haven't coloured it, but we have put a fragrance in it, and it is coconut and lime. All right, so that one's going in. Just going to fill it up, not all the way to the top. All right, but we want to give Carly a decent amount. Okay, and now we're just going to go over to our little star tea light candles. Now I'm not filling these all the way up either, because I am also going to use these when I pipe out some decorations to stick on the top. And I'll show you in a minute what I mean by piping out some decorations, because I'm sending some over to the Philippines to my supporters over there, and I need to send things that won't break. So this is what I mean when I talk to you about decorations. So I've piped out just a teeny tiny little decoration with some colour, and these will sit wherever they choose to put them. It's a PVC and it's heat resistant, so you can burn the candle in it, and they make a wonderful little decorative addition to your coffee table or one of your cupboards that's in somewhere that people can see and on display. Right, so now we're just going to wait for those to set. What we are looking for with the teacup is making sure that it's starting to set. It's firm enough for us to embed the beautiful little shells that we've got here, but also soft enough so that we can embed them, but firm enough so that it will still support them and they won't sink in. So I'll show you what that step is like and what it will look like on the wax. I just wanted to show you where we were up to. As you can see the star in the back, that's at the perfect time for the star if you were going to decorate it with shells. It's still a little bit translucent, but it's able to support a shell or two. Now with the teacup, it is still quite liquidy. You can see in the bottom, you can't quite see the silver part of the wick. So it is starting to set, but it is not ready to put any candles on it. Now, if you've made candles before, you would know that your room temperature plays a big part in getting the correct finish. So I've got my room temperature set to 25 degrees Celsius. It's a perfect temperature that I've found for getting the right finish, getting less of the, if I was doing a clear candle, getting less of the frosting on a soy candle. I'm using 464 wax. And it is renowned for getting the frosting around when you're doing glass. So I would suggest if you can set your room temperature to 25 when you're making candles, nothing below 20 degrees, and you should be right and get a good finish. Now we're just going to leave it for another, I'm going to say 10 minutes, and we'll come back and see if it's ready. Now we're 20 minutes in from the time that we poured, and I just want to show you how it's setting. So you can see here it's starting to go cloudy and set on top, but it's not ready to support any shells. If you were using something light like rose petals or something that's very light and has a wide area, I would say that perhaps you could start putting that on now. But because we're using heavy shells like these ones, it needs to be more set than what it is now. Okay, so we're just going to give it another 5 minutes. Okay, so we've had about 25 to 30 minutes of time waiting, and now I'm just going to show you this is the perfect time to start putting them in. So you can see that it's not quite set. The middle would still be reasonably liquid, but the top is setting quite well. So I've picked out my main big shells. I'm deciding which one I'm going to use, and in deciding which one, I wanted to pick something that I hadn't seen before, because Carly, our friend, is pretty unique. So I wanted to give her something that was kind of one of a kind like her. So I'm going to use this one here. I haven't seen this kind of shell on the beach here before, which is kind of like Carly. I don't have a friend like Carly. She's pretty spectacular. So we're going to use this shell as our main shell for her. So I'm just going to take away the holder. We don't need that anymore. Okay, and the way I usually decorate is the first one that goes in is my main one, and then I decorate around. Now see how it is quite set on the top, and because I don't want this to move, I'm going to have to burrow it down just slightly into the wax, okay? That way when we're transporting it up to Canberra, it's not going to get jostled around in the car. And then basically all I do is pick out the shells that I want, and I just place them around. All right. Now, as I said, you really do need to place them so that if they do get jostled around, they're going to stay in place. Now I also want a little bit of sand, because in Canberra they don't get a lot of sand for obvious reasons. So I wanted her to have a little bit of the beach with her. Now this one here is pretty unique too. I've never really seen one of these on the beach before. So I want to incorporate this. So I just have to work out the best way to get it in. So I think we'll put it there. Okay. And I think there's room for one more dark one. I just want to make sure there's no holes. That one's cute, but that one there, that tiny little one, it's got a little hole in it, so we won't use that one. So we'll put one more of them here, like that, and then we just need some sand. So I'm just going to empty out these little shells so we can get some of the sand out. Now I always find when you're putting sand in, it's always easier to sprinkle it in out of one of these pippy shells, because you can generally get it in a pretty straight line. Okay, so we're just going to gather it all together by tapping it here, and just going to pour it in like so where you want it. And now she has this beautiful teacup with a number of shells from our local beach, and it's even got a beachy smell with the coconut and lime. So now what we do is we just make sure that they're all firmly pressed in, so that if it does get jostled around on the way to delivery, and you can see that one there has come out of the wax. It can be a little bit fiddly, this part, but it's well worth it for the impact. So I just want to show you what that looks like. And then we're going to wrap it up once it's completely set. So I'm going to leave it to set for a few days at least. And then when it gets to Carly, I'll make sure that she doesn't burn it for at least 2 weeks, because it needs to cure. And that's it. That's our tutorial today on making beautiful couture teacup candles with a ocean seashell twist, made especially for my beautiful friend Carly and her birthday. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any of our wonderful content. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Bye.